Visupada Paramahamsa Parikrajakatsarya Stottarasata Sri Sri Madhavaya Sarana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Samvara Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita Siddhis Ki Jai Gaura Premanande Nare Pariho Namo Vishwarya Krishna Presta Bhutale Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanami Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavani Krishnami Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Welcome to all of you to our Hare Krishna temple for our Sunday program lecture. Today we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, which was Transcendental Knowledge, and text 31. 4:31. So I read the Sanskrit and then translation of that. Nayam lokosti avayagyasya kutonya kuru sattama. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then the next? Whatever form the material existence one is invariably ignorant of his real situation. In other words, existence in the material world is due to the multiple reactions to our sinful lives. Ignorance is the cause of sinful life, and sinful life is the cause of one's dragging in material existence. The human form of life is the only loophole by which one may get out of this entanglement. The Vedas therefore give us a chance for escape by pointing out the paths of religion, economic comfort, regulated sense gratification, and at last the means to get out of the miserable condition entirely. The path of religion or the different kinds of sacrifice recommended above automatically solves our economic problems. By performance of yajna, we can have enough food, enough milk, and so on, even if there is a so-called increase of population. When the body is fully supplied, naturally the next stage is to satisfy the senses. The Vedas prescribe, therefore, sacred marriage for regulated sense gratification. Thereby one is gradually elevated to the platform of release from material bondage. And the highest perfection of liberated life is to associate with the Supreme Lord. Perfection is achieved by performance of yajna sacrifice, as described above. Now, if a person is not inclined to perform yajna according to the Vedas, how can he expect a happy life even in this body, and what to speak of another body on another planet? There are different grades and material comforts in different heavenly planets, and in all cases there is immense happiness for persons engaged in different kinds of yajna. But the highest kind of happiness that a man can achieve is to be promoted to the spiritual planets by practice of Krishna consciousness. Life of Krishna consciousness is therefore the solution to all the problems of material existence. Nayam lokosti ayakyasya kutonya kurusattama. Obestante kurudainesti, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then the next? Avakyana tivirandasya jnanam sana salakaya saksurmiritam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So we are reading the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita as it is, and it is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. And now we learned from this text today that without sacrifice we cannot live happily on this planet, and what then to speak of the next planet or life. So you may think that how is it? What does that mean that sacrifice only gives us happiness? I am thinking that when I'm working hard at my office, I get money, and by money I can get happiness. It's me who is the cause of my own happiness. And Bhagavad Gita and Vedas, they do not confirm that it is like that. In Bhagavad Gita, there is one verse, Prakriti Kriyamana Vipunai Karma Sarvasaha Ahangara Vimudhatva Kartaham Iti Manyate, which describes that foolish persons, they think that they are bewildered, conditioned soul is bewildered by false ego and thinks that he is the doer of the activities that are actually carried out by the material nature. That means that we, ultimately as a spirit soul, we are not the doers. It is the material nature which is working, and it is working according to our desire and our karma. So this karma means that in our previous lives we have performed certain activities, and these activities, they are giving us a result, happiness and distress. And now we, in this present body, we have to enjoy or suffer according to that. And according to our karma also, we have some intelligence, some kind of body and ability to work in a certain way, and then we think that we are the doer. Actually, it's illusion. So Krishna is describing different sacrifices in this chapter, but when we hear this word sacrifice, we are thinking that somebody is killed. But actually it's not so. These sacrifices that he is describing here, there are different things that we sacrifice. For example, the yogis, they sacrifice the outgoing and ingoing breath. They stop breathing in one point when they are advanced in their meditation and yoga. This is sacrifice. And the others, they may sacrifice their valuable time by studying holy scriptures. We know that time is money, and if we sacrifice this this time, for spiritual advancement, this is also a sacrifice. Then there are those who sacrifice their sense objects. So we have different senses, and there are different sense objects, and when these senses, they contact their objects, that usually gives us happiness. At least we expect like that. But we can sacrifice these sense objects. We restrict our mind and senses and perform austerity. So we sacrifice these sense objects. For example, we follow some certain diet. We don't eat things that we would like to eat. This is a sacrifice. And then we can sacrifice also our money, because by money we could buy many things that could please ourselves, but we give it away to some good cause, to some welfare organization, to some Hare Krishna movement, or wherever we can give some money. This is a great sacrifice. Nowadays, there are two things which are very serious sacrifices to modern day people. This one is money, and the other one is this time. Because nowadays everybody is thinking that we do not have time. We have 24 hours every day, but still we think that time is running out. So we can sacrifice these two things. Why? For spiritual advancement. Now we don't speak that we sacrifice things for our sense gratification. Actually, this is not considered to be a sacrifice. So we are working hard day and night, and we get money, then we go to a restaurant, enjoy there. This is not a sacrifice. It is foolishness. Because we lose our money and we don't get any satisfaction for our soul. And we make bad karma, which we have to suffer later on. But Srila Prabhupada was in his purport speaking about ignorance. Ignorance is the cause of sinful life. Nowadays we don't want to hear this word sinful. Because we have been told many times that this is sinful, that is sinful, you should not do like this and that. And this time is that we think that we should be free to do whatever we want to do. And then we don't want to hear anything about the sins or sinful lives. And ignorance is the cause of the sinful life. In this context, the sinful activities means activities that create bad karma to ourselves. We can take it like that. And when we are ignorant, then we don't know what action we should. Actually, it was that when we are ignorant, we are doing what we should not do, and we are not doing what we should do. And when we are passionate, we don't know what is wrong, what is right to do. And when we are under the influence of moral goodness, virtue, then we know what is the right action, what is the wrong action. So the ignorance is the cause of sinful life, and one should come out from ignorance to save his or her life. And then it was describing here that this happiness which we can get by sacrifice. So I tried to explain that actually we are not the doer of the activities. It was the material nature. But foolishly we think that we are the doer. And this happiness which we try to get in this life, there are many different ways to do it, to try to get it. An ignorant person, he engages in activities which are miserable from the beginning to the end, and there is no happiness, but because of his ignorance and illusion, he thinks that it is nice. Example is given like a hawk. In India, you see these hawks running here and there. In Finland, you don't see like that, but in India, you see a hawk, and then there is a pool of dirty water, this sewer water, and the hawk is there submerged in this water, only this nose is outside and the ears are outside, otherwise he's completely submerged, and he looks very happy. He thinks that is a perfection of happiness. But we think that it is abominable. So we would not like to do that. This is an example of ignorance. And then a person in passion, he is after sense gratification, he is working very hard in order to get some money, and by money he is trying to satisfy his senses. So he gets some temporary happiness for senses, but at the same time he also does not get any happiness for his soul. As a soul, he doesn't enjoy. And then he also commits this karma, which he has to suffer. And higher happiness, person on a higher level to try to get happiness is the person in the mode of goodness, who is trying to get happiness by doing these Vedic sacrifices or sacrificing different things for spiritual advancement. And here is Prabhupada was explaining how person who is doing Vedic sacrifices, he can promote himself to heavenly planets, where he can then enjoy this heaven in the heavenly atmosphere, great heavenly happiness for millions of years according to our time calculation. But unfortunately, this is also temporary. So in one point, he has to come down again to this Earth planet to continue here his these karmic activities. There was a story in Bhagavata Purana where once the cowherd men in Vrindavan was village cowherd men and cowherd women, so they were performing a sacrifice. That means that they were acquiring certain items for sacrifice, like ghee and rice, which would be offered in a sacred fire, and firewood, and different eatables, cooked food, which also would be offered in the sacrifice. And Krishna, who was at that time little, 7 years old, he was inquiring from his father and elders that which kind of sacrifice you are going to perform. And his father, thinking that his little boy could not understand all these intricacies and these sacrifices, he didn't reply. But Krishna was insisting that you have to tell me which kind of sacrifice it is, and they then started to explain that this is sacrifice for Lord Indra. Lord Indra is the king of the heaven, and he is responsible for the rains. And because we are cowherd men, we need rains, because without rains the grass does not grow, the cows don't get food, and we cannot grow the crops, the grains also. Actually, the cows, they need fresh herbs. When they get fresh herbs, the milk is very good. But during the winter time, when there is not much fresh herbs, they get high mostly, and the the quality of the milk is not so good. So for them, these fresh herbs were very important, and therefore, hoping to get regular rain, they were worshipping Lord Indra, the king of the heaven. And this was a traditional sacrifice. Krishna was inquiring which kind of sacrifice it is, and they explained that it was a traditional, that they have done it for centuries, every year. And then Krishna, he proposed that actually we should not offer these items to King Indra because we don't need him. We can offer these items to Govardhana Hill, which was a great mountain nearby where the cowherd men were herding their cows regularly. And they were very much surprised to hear this proposal. And they asked that why we should do like that. And Krishna then explained that because this Govardhana hill is supplying all these items for living, this fresh grass and water and so on. So this hill is the source of all these things, and we should therefore worship him. Actually, he explained what Indra, he is giving rains also to sea where there is no need of rainfall. And because everything depends on our karma, we just perform our duties according to Vedas, and we get a good result. We don't need Indra for that. So the government, they try to explain that, yes, we do as you say, but first we want to offer these things to Indra. And Krishna was again insisting that no, there is no need to do that and waste time. You can directly go to worship Govardhana hill with these items. So they did like that. They performed this Govardhana Puja, which we are also celebrating after 1 week and 2 days or something like that, 14 November. It is Tuesday and we have here a great celebration. So they performed this Govardhana Puja and offered all these items to this Govardhana hill. And naturally, King Indra, king of the heaven, he became very angry when he noticed what had happened. And he wanted to punish these inhabitants of Raj, Vrindavan, who had become so impudent that they don't anymore want to worship him. And naturally, there is some pride. So they don't anymore worship me. No, I don't like it. Why they don't do it? We see that these gods and goddesses at the heaven, although they are very exalted personalities and they have many superhuman powers which we can even understand, but they are not pure devotees of Lord Krishna, and therefore sometimes they become a little proud, they forget their position. And every great man usually becomes proud for his position. This is quite natural for us conditioned souls. So Indra also became a little proud, and he wanted to punish them, and then he sent there these rain clouds, thunderstorms to destroy this village. And there was great distress in this Vrindavan village because it was excessive rain and cold winds and thunderstorms. And then they turned to Krishna and asked help from him in this situation, because actually they were Krishna's devotees who always take shelter of Krishna alone, as Krishna himself here in Bhagavad Gita he is describing in 18th chapter that just abandon all varieties of religion, dharma, and just surrender unto me alone. So Krishna is saying that you just surrender unto me alone, not to anybody else. Take shelter of me alone. And this is considered to be pure devotional service when one takes shelter of Krishna only. So Krishna then said that, okay, I can help you, and he lifted this Govardhana hill up with his left hand, with his little finger, and holding it up so that inhabitants of Vrindavan, they could take shelter under the hill. And Indra's rainstorms and thunders, they couldn't harm or break this hill, and they were in a safe place there under the hill for 7 days. And it is described in Bhagavata Purana that during these 7 days they didn't feel any hunger or thirst or fatigue, or they were not tired. And during these 7 days, Krishna was all the time holding the hill and the inhabitants of Vrindavan were looking at him with rapt attention and devotion. After that, 7 days, Indra realized that he has done a mistake, that he cannot harm these inhabitants, and he came to realization that he should also apologize and stop these thundering and rainstorms Vrindavan. So he did so, and then when it stopped and the inhabitants came again to Vrindavan from under the hill, and Krishna placed the hill back to where it was originally. And this pastime Krishna is then celebrated from that day on every year there in Vrindavan, and Hare Krishna movement also follows that tradition. Once a year we celebrate this Govardhana Puja. So there are different sacrifices and different reasons why people do sacrifices. Most of us, we are doing sacrifices in order to get something for ourselves. Otherwise we wouldn't do it. So that we can get a result that we can enjoy. But this is a little better way to enjoy than just go to earn money and go to restaurant to enjoy. Because this kind of sacrifice is according to Vedas. We do sacrifice in order to get elevation in our next life. This is in the mode of goodness, and we can experience higher happiness in this material world. Still, this is also temporary, because everything which has its beginning has its end also, and this greater happiness also is ending in one day. And therefore, in the Bhagavata Purana, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is giving us instructions that we should not try to get this kind of temporary happiness, but we should endeavor for eternal happiness. Can it be so that there is eternal happiness? If we would ask from you how many believe that there is eternal happiness, I don't know how many of you would say that yes, I believe. Because it's not in our world experience that there is eternal happiness. Usually the happiness we experience is quite limited. And we know that the always ends at one point. Yeah, even if it continues whole life, when the body is finished, that is also finished. This body is anyway finished in one point. You don't believe, maybe. When I was 16, I couldn't believe that one day I would be 69. It was impossible. If somebody would say that one day you are old like 69, like I am now, I would not believe, no, not possible. But it comes. I can assure it comes. So, yeah. So therefore, we have to take benefit of this human life, because in this human life only we can attain self-realization. And this is thing that we have to perform throughout the life. It's not that comes then at the end, like in 1 second. Therefore, we are here in Krishna consciousness movement, and we are doing this Hare Krishna meditation every day in order to advance in spiritual life and ultimately attain this self-realization and come to the level of eternal happiness when we realize that we are actually spiritual soul. We are not this temporary material body which we are carrying on now. And this realization and this self-realization is the highest perfection which only can be achieved in the human form of life. Why I say like this? What do you mean about that? Well, I mean that this spirit soul, he is transmigrating from one body to another, and there are, according to Puranas, there are 8,400,000 different species of life through which we have to circle. And when we come to the human form, when we finally get the birth in a human form, that is only meant for spiritual life and for self-realization, although we now think that it's completely something else. And if we miss this opportunity, then the material nature who is giving us these different bodies, then she can give us again these lower bodies, lower than human form, and we have to do this whole circle again before we come again to the human form. This is what is explained here in Bhagavad Gita. Also, Krishna is not trying to force us to take this Krishna consciousness, this process what he is explaining in this Bhagavad Gita. Actually, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, when he has spoken to his friend Arjuna all this knowledge, he asking Arjuna that, have you now understood completely what I have explained? And then, if you have, then you can deliberate it yourself and do as you like. This means that he or us, we have to use our free will to accept Krishna consciousness, or not to accept. But Krishna is not forcing, but he is giving good reasoning why we should take it. For example, he is explaining there that in this material universe, from the highest planets down to the lowest, all planets are places of misery, where a repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains my eternal abode does not take his birth in this material world again. So these four miseries, material life, birth, death, old age and disease, they are everywhere, in every species of life and on every planet. And we cannot escape it. And Prabhupada here is saying that at last, the means to get out of the miserable condition entirely is this taking this Krishna consciousness. So get out from material life, from the material world, the means to do it is to take this Krishna consciousness. I don't now say that there are no other methods, like different yoga systems or some religions there might be, but we now advertise this Krishna consciousness here with all respect to all other methods and religions. And sacrifice, we were speaking about these yagyas sacrifices. We were doing sacrifices, we were offering, sacrificing different things for spiritual advancement. But we know now that Lord Chaitanya, who appeared 500 years ago, he introduced this chanting Hare Krishna mantra, which is according to him the sacrifice of this age. So this is also sacrifice. When we are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, or we are doing this japa meditation, Hare Krishna mantra, this is all sacrifice. Everybody knows that when we are doing that, we also sacrifice our time, we also sacrifice our energy and so on. So this is the sacrifice for this age, and by performing this sacrifice, we can attain everything. At the end, so Prabhupada is saying that the life Krishna consciousness is therefore the solution to all the problems of material existence. This is quite great promise for all problems of material existence. And there is an explanation why it is so, but it's a little bit takes time to explain. But we have so many problems on personal level nowadays. We have many problems on the level of nations and the whole globe Earth. There are many problems. There are too many people already here, and there are problems to produce enough food, and food is not distributed evenly. There are many hungry people. There are many people who eat too much. And there are many poor people and many people who waste their money and food and so on, who have too much wealth. And the population is increasing, and then we have to face many severe problems. We pollute this planet Earth and seas and so on. And there are nuclear weapons, and there is a great envy between nations and different people. There is violence, there are diseases, and everything is increasing. And soon there are only, in Western countries, there are soon only old people and very young. There will be not anymore those who are working. For some children. So many problems. And Prabhupada is here offering solution for all problems is this process of Krishna consciousness and this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. Now you may ask from me that, okay, personally, do you have any experience? Can you explain what problems you have solved by chanting by this Hare Krishna mantra? So I have solved quite many personal problems by doing that. I could make a list of them, but I can only assure that it works. But we have also put some faith in it. And we also remember that we are not only chanting Hare Krishna in order to solve our personal problems, but we are doing it in order to satisfy Krishna, who is that Yakya Purusa, which means that person who enjoys the result of our sacrifice. And our sacrifice was chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, and enjoyer was Krishna. But when Krishna is enjoying, then we are also ourselves enjoying. So we have to end here. We have soon this Arati ceremony and Kirtan. And thank you for your attention. And if you have some comments or questions, now you can ask. Please do so if you want.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the lecture. How we can get rid of pride? Because you say that even King Indra was feeling that false pride.
Yeah, how can we get rid of pride? Pride is a demoniac quality. It is explained in Bhagavad Gita. There are list of godly and demoniac qualities, and pride is the first in the list of demoniac qualities. It is very essential to get rid of pride in order to advance in the spiritual life. In the spiritual life, one has to become humble. This is necessary. and it is opposite to pride. And pride, we can diminish our pride by serving others, especially these spiritually advanced persons like spiritual masters and the other people. If we perform some service to others, for example, welfare activities is one way. In this way we can diminish our pride. But we can also diminish our pride by associating with devotees. The Hare Krishna movement, this I have experienced myself. And listening them and serving them and performing with them this Harinam Sankirtan, this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. This much I can say. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai.
Peace, grace, Hanumanananda Prabhu teacher.
Thank you very much, Hanumanananda Prabhu. Kiitos paljon Hanumanananda Prabhulle. Nyt meillä on sitten Arati ceremony, and now we have the Arati ceremony, and after that then as we are living the Kartika Damodara month, then we will have Damodara Astika song and the ceremony for Lord Damodara. Hare Krishna.
I ask you everyone to come closer to the altar. And now we'll chant one bhajan and then we'll sing Hare Krishna. And I'll tell one more time, it's process for this age of Kali, you heard today. And we can everyone join and to try ourselves to put our heart to sing to the Lord. Yashamati Nandana Brajabarana Gara Gokula Ranjana Kana Yashamati Nandana Brajabarana Gara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Parana Gana Madana Manohara Kariya Damana Vidhana Kariya Damana
Hare
Krishna,
Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnu Pada Paramahams Parivrata Gacharya Stotra Sata. Shri Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Anantapati Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Silavrida Thakur ki jai. Prem se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Syamguna Radha Gunda Kiri Govardhana ki jai. Shri Vrindavana Mathura Dhama ki jai. Shri Navadvipa Mayapur Dhama ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dhama ki jai. Kankamai ki jai. Yamadamai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Brihad Mariranga ki jai. Harinama Sankirtana ki jai. Itai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Paramicete Shri Krishna Sankirtanam ki jai. Shri Damodara Kartika Mas ki jai. Kaikki kunnia kokonaan Bhaktale Hare Krishna, all glories to the ascended devotees Hare Krishna, kaikki kunnia kokonaan Bhaktale Hare Krishna, kaikki kunnia Sri Gurulle Sri Gaurangalle, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Nyt meillä tosiaan sitten tämän Damodara Kartika-kuukauden aikana on joka sunnuntai juhla ja itse asiassa joka ilta Sandiaratin jälkeen tämä Damodara-seremonia ja me lauletaan Damodarasta laulu. So now, during this Damodara Kartika month, we will have every Sunday feast and in fact every evening Damodara ceremony for Lord Damodaran, and we will sing the Damodarastaka song. So joten jokaisella on mahdollisuus, te saatte vähän atsmana vettä käsille, niin laskekaa se vaan lattialle ja sitten voitte ottaa tuosta tikun, sytyttää sen ja uhrata tuolla alttarilla Herra Damodaralle Krishnalle, joka on tuossa tosininen nuori lapsi äitinsä Yasodan kanssa tuossa alttarin vasemmalla puolella. 3 kertaa myötäpäivään riittää esimerkiksi. So everyone has the possibility to offer a ghee lamp, a dipa for Lord Damodara, Krishna, who is there, the blue child with his mother Yasoda over there on the left side of the altar. So you can do it simply by offering in the clockwise manner with your right hand 3 times around them, like that. And one more thing, please light your dipa from the candle over there, not from the other dipas. Joten yksi asia vielä, eli sytykätkää omaa tämän tulilamppunne niin tuosta kynttilästä, älkää noista muista sitten sillä aikaa palavista tulilampuista. Okei, kiitoksia. Hare Krishna. Aloitetaan. Let's begin.
The page is 34, or in your phone you can find Damodarastakam. Anyone has the phone? No? Okay. Same persons. Namami Swaram Sachi Anandaropam Dasakundalam Gokule Rajamana 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 Yasoda Viyolokala Davamana Paramrisa Mantyantaro Drutsekota Yasoda Viyolokala Davamana Paramrisa Mantyantaro Drutsekota Rodanta Mornekra Mamritsanga Paramboja Yomela Sakankaneta Rodanta Mornekra Mamritsanga Paramboja Yomela Sakankaneta Mohusvasa Kampate Kanta Kanta Sitagai Damodaram Matikata Mohusvasa Kampate Kanta Kanta Sitagai Damodaram Matikata Integris Halila Anasani Majantam Matyapayanta Halila Virananda Kunde Svagosani Majantam Matyapayanta Tadiye Seklage Sovata Jitatma Una Premata Nastam Shakariti Bande
Hare Krishna Kesho Bhakta Jivata Puna Prema Dasam Shakariti Bande
Ayam Deva Moksham Moksham Vadimva Acharya Vrineha Kari Shatadeha
Param Deva Moksham Na Moksham Varimva Acharya Vineham Kare
Idam Deva Punaka Gopala Bala Sadam Manasya Virasam Vimanyaya
Idam Deva Purnata
Idam Te Mukham Bodham Ajantanyelai Idam Kudalai Sikharaka Siddhya
Idam Deva Kambodjam Pratyanta Nilai Idam Kundalai
Mosobitam Bimbaratavarame Manasya Virasam Nalam Vasakamaye
Mohosum Vidam Bimbaratadharame Manasya Virasam Varam Vaksharame
Namo Deva Dhamma Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodho Jala Vivana
Namo Deva Namo Dharana Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuta Jalavivana
Vipadrishti Sanjay Nambakano Vihani Shamagadyam Vedashinesha
Vipadrishti Vishyate Niramadano Vinate Samamanyate Virasyadeya
Viratma Jalbana Ujjavayadva Vayamocitavati Vajapitacha
Vera
Jalbana Ujjavayadva Vayamocitavati Vajapitacha Tata Prema Bhakti Sakame Prayacha Namo Kshegrahane Siddhamanareva
Tata Prema Bhakti Sakame Prayasha Namo Shri Namo
Namaste Sudhame Swadhate Dhame Hari Yogadaya Gavishasadhame
Namaste Sudhame Sudhaditiyame Hari Yogadaya Vishwasadhame
Namo Radhikaya Tvariya Priyaya Namo Dantalilaya Vivaya Tuya
Namo Radhikaya Tvariya Priyaya Namo Nandalivaya Devaya
Namo Radhikaya Tvariya Priyaya Namo Dantalilaya Vivaya Tuya
Namo Radhikaya Tvariya Priyaya Namo Nandalivaya Devaya
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna
Hetken päästä on juhlaterian ja momentti have the